Hey guys, so in this video I'm actually starting to create the dark crystal necklace. You will have hopefully seen the planning of the necklace video, and if you haven't, I suggest you go and have a look at that first. But I went into this necklace with a fairly good idea of what I wanted to create. So my idea was to use a lot of the symbology from the dark crystal and very much use that triangle with the circle for the great conjunction of the planets as the centerpiece, and to have Aughra's face sitting in the center of that triangle symbology. So the first thing is obviously I needed to sketch that out. Now I've used a 14 centimeter diameter for the neck part, which I drew above, and then now I'm doing the triangle section, which will be the collar part of the necklace and sit around the neck. So I'm drawing out a number of triangles and circles. At this stage I wasn't too sure if I wanted both of the border lines or the full triangle lines and everything on there. So once I had the sketch out of all of the pieces and everything, I then went and grabbed all my crystals and things to start working out where the design would go. So I've shown these little resin crystal pieces in a previous video. These ones are where I've glued them. You can see I made a decision to put the dark purple one in the center just under Aughra's face, and the two fuchsia ones on either side of the triangle. I then had a look through my stash and I found some brass bits and pieces. One of them in particular was those circle, large hammered hoops, and they fit perfectly into that symbology, because if you have looked at some of the sketches that Brian Froud did for the dark crystal, there's a lot of sketches that show this sort of imagery with the triangle and then the three planets, and then there's a large circle in the middle as well. And so I started sort of moving pieces around to see how I liked it. I knew I wanted to make it a slightly steampunk necklace, and so I had the cogs there as well and realized they would work perfectly as the planets. So I glued those in. As you can see here, they're all glued on now. I just used an E6000 glue to put those in place. And then I decided to start beading around some of the lines I was going to use in the design. The beads I used here were a size 11 round, and they're in a marbled, I forget the exact colour combination, but it's a brown with a beigey colour, sort of almost a tortoiseshell looking seed bead, and I thought that would be great because it would look a little bit weathered and a little bit more organic, which sort of goes in line with a lot of the sketches and things of the dark crystal. So I was really trying to incorporate those colours. So I decided in the end to use both circles, and you can see I've beaded around both circles and the triangle just using backstitch. The crystal at the top and the bottom penetrate the lines of the triangle, and I did that on purpose, partly because I was running out of room, and I also don't mind the look of that, so that it's sort of combining the imagery all together. And then I started to try and work out colours for the rest of it as well, and I decided I really liked this reddy brown colour, which is just an opaque size 11 round. Again, backstitch just around the circles. Now once I had that in place, I found this really nice matte metallic brown delica bead that I had in my stash, and so I decided to fill in the spaces between the circle and like the small circles and the larger circles. And I've also pulled in these larger beads that look almost like rough stones in very earthy colours. So that's the large 2 beads that you see on either side of the brass circle. They're actually beads that I've shown in my bead sizes video, if you remember, if you've watched that video. And yeah, they looked perfect for this piece, I thought, so I've incorporated those. So I tend to sort of make small design decisions about colours and things as I'm moving through, and when I'm definite about a decision, I'll go ahead and bead it before I move on to making another decision about a colour or a design sometimes, because sometimes I need to see that next step in place and bead it in or what have you before I know what direction I'm going in. So each time I sort of realised I was completely happy with the colour or design decision, I'd bead it and then have a look at it before moving on to the next part. Now you probably can't tell because it is subtle, but the matte metallic brown delica beads, I did one line of those, and then I found some beads that were slightly lighter in colour and a sort of mottled colour for inside of those beads as well, so that it sort of shades into a light colour. I hope that makes sense. It's very subtle, so it's not too obvious, but all of it looks quite organic, has earthy colours, some slight metallic colours to some elements that I'm using here. So I'm just mimicking that same design in each of these quadrants of the triangle, each corner of the triangle, so that it's all cohesive. Now that's just a what they call a stop stitch, the way that I'm attaching those larger beads. It just means that I'm using a bead as a stopper to hold that larger bead in place. So I've used a size 3mm fire polished glass for that. Okay guys, well this is where I got to with the necklace. For now, I will have some more update videos as I progress so that you can see how I create this necklace. I hope you've enjoyed this and found it inspiring in some way, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye craft nerds.